We're back and we're diving into another Polish favorite, salmon, with Chef Don's special ingredient, dandelion greens.
And not often do we see dandelion greens in our cooking, but they're really a Polish favorite and just a wonderful green. Separates themselves from a mustard green or a collard green. They're very, that take a long time to cook. The dandelion greens are very easy to prepare and very quick to cook with. Also great in iron and calcium and protein.
Oh, so a lot of nutritional benefits.
Absolutely.
Easy to prepare in your kitchen.
And a little personal connection. My grandfather actually came over from Kraków, Poland, and raising his family, one of my dad's jobs was to actually pick the dandelion greens in the yard, and they would have those for dinner.
Very cool.
So it's really, for me, it has a personal connection, but also very consistent in what we're doing today. We're looking at healthier, and we're looking for a new take on old world favorites.
Yeah, so even though people might not think of dandelion greens in connection with Polish cuisine, it is one of those very typical old world ingredients that was used in a lot of these very classic dishes.
Absolutely.
So we're using salmon today, or łosoś as you would say in Polish, which is a very popular ingredient due to its prevalence in the Baltic Sea, just in the north of the country. This is a really beautiful color. What kind of salmon do we have here?
Well, this is actually an Ora King salmon. You know, we always, at the club, we always want to be conscious of sustainability. And all those, this is a farm-raised salmon. It's a sustainable salmon. Again, raised in New Zealand. It really has actually quite often used in sushi. So we're melting our butter here, our whole butter, and that's going to really give a great flavor to the salmon. And once the pan gets hot, we'll introduce the salmon to the pan. But one thing for taste and for presentation, let's let the salmon cook. Too often people are so interested in peeking and is it done yet? You know? So
in order to get that really nice color, we have to just set it down and forget about it for a little bit.
Let it do its thing. You get that nice sizzle.
Yes.
And a piece like this will take, you know, we'll cook it for approximately 3-4 minutes on one side, turn it over, and do the same thing on the other side.
And again, that's fine. We're using, like you said, a sushi grade salmon.
Right.
So while that's cooking away, should we start with our dandelion greens?
Absolutely. And what's really easy about with the dandelion greens is there's not a whole lot of maintenance to the greens. We've washed these greens, and we're going to just cut the very ends off. They're a little bit woody per se, and we're actually going to keep this underneath, and we're going to put that in our compost to be able to break down. And we're just going to give smaller pieces. Unlike things, greens like mustard greens and collard greens that we spoke about earlier, you can use the whole rib. And when we cook it down, so normally with the other greens, you're peeling off the leaf from the stem. It's all completely edible.
Great, because this is it's a smaller, more delicate leaf, and the rib is not as bitter.
Absolutely.
So what kind of a flavor do dandelion greens have that is different than, let's say, a collard green or a mustard green?
Well, like a lot of greens, it's a little bit on the bitter side, hence the reason for, sauteing a little bit in the whole butter. But I would compare them almost to a sorrel that has that little lemony bite and really fresh, which I think lends itself really well to the salmon. You have the fattiness of the salmon, you have the brightness of the dandelion greens. It really just makes the dish pop.
Great. Yeah, I can see how that lemon component would go beautifully with the fish.
Absolutely. And we're going to turn the salmon.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
Nice color on the salmon.
And you can see how it's like cooking part of the way down. The color is changing on the salmon.
Absolutely. And again, to accentuate flavors and to build flavors is a white onion. Versus something like a Spanish onion. A white onion is a little bit sweeter. And what's also available are ramps, and ramps are in the springtime very readily available, and also adds that onion garlic flavor. I wouldn't add onions and ramps. I would just add the ramps if you're going to mix it with the dandelion greens, again, to give a little bit more complexity.
Okay, and for anyone who's not familiar with a ramp, it's essentially a wild onion. And if you're from Chicago, you know them very well. That is how our city got its name. So you could substitute that in, especially in the springtime, just making use, again, this locally sourced and what's available and fresh now.
Absolutely. And again, getting weight, I know we're all in a hurry, but you can see by the preparation, freshness doesn't take more time than convenience of popping vegetables into a microwave. So we're gonna take out the salmon. I think it's done now. As with any protein, We want the protein to rest, and when it rests, the juices have an opportunity to spread itself throughout the protein, often with steaks. You see that red center, and this way, with the salmon resting, it disperses the flavor back into the protein itself. And again, we're going to have just a little bit of butter. We're not going to use all this.
You can actually smell the salmon already. It smells really beautiful.
And really, the ingredients speak for themselves. You shouldn't have to work to smell an ingredient. You shouldn't have to lean into something to smell it. It should meet you and greet you.
I like that.
So we're not looking to brown the onions. We're just looking to, kind of soften them a little bit, get them a little translucent, and then we're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper.
All right.
First, we're going to add our dandelion greens. And you'll notice, again, it's not going to take a lot of time.
It looks like they're turning even greener now that they're in the pan. Oh, I just saw an onion jump. Is this kind of the same concept as when you're like blanching something? Just this quick heat?
Yeah, just a quick heat, almost like when you cook a spinach. You're just looking to wilt it a little bit. And if you notice, we're adding the greens to the same pan that we cooked the salmon in, just to bring that cohesiveness and bring all those flavors together. So we'll begin the plate up.
So we have our wonderful bed of dandelion greens.
We'll place our salmon here. I've made a lighter bacon dressing, and again, we'll use the same pan that we did the salmon. We did the greens, just to heat that up a little bit.
And this is a dressing that you've already made, so we're just warming it through before plating. I like the combination of bacon and salmon.
And who doesn't like bacon?
Nobody. It smells wonderful. I think that's the best part about cooking with bacon is your whole home gets that like bacon scent.
Absolutely. Put the dressing over the top. Our last little touch, we're going to accentuate with a little bit of lemon.
And this will tie in, you were saying, our dandelion greens do have that little hint of lemon to them. So again, just keeping those flavors, freshening them up throughout the dish.
Absolutely.
This looks amazing. I can't wait to try it. Thank you so much for sharing this recipe. This is Chef Don's sauteed salmon on wilted dandelion greens.